I'm talking about a tiny flying contractor that doesn't make honey, doesn't live in a buzzing city-sized hive, and still manages to quietly upgrade our food supply like it's on payroll. And here's the wild part. This bee literally cuts perfect circles out of leaves, cleaner than some people cut pizza, and flies off with them like it just robbed a botanical bank. If you've ever seen leaf holes that look like someone used a hole punch, congratulations. You found a crime scene, and the culprit is still out there. But it's not just about weird leaf art. This little builder is one of the most efficient pollinators in agriculture, and in certain crops, it can outperform the bees that get all the credit. While everyone's busy shouting, "Save the bees," this one is out here actually saving our harvests, silently, ruthlessly, and without asking for applause. So in this video, we're exposing the genius behind those leaf cutouts, the secret engineering happening in gardens and farms, and why this bee might be one of the best things to ever happen to crops. Welcome back to the channel. If you love discovering nature's hidden MVPs, you're in the right place. Now hit like, subscribe, and let's meet the builder that boosts our crops. Today, we're meeting the leafcutter bee, the little architect of the pollination world. So what exactly is a leafcutter bee? Unlike honeybees that live in huge, complex colonies, leafcutter bees are solitary. This means each female is her own queen, her own worker, and her own protector. She builds her own nest, gathers her own pollen, lays her own eggs, and seals up her brood all by herself. They belong to a group of bees called megachili, and they're famous for one incredible skill: cutting perfectly shaped circles out of leaves. That's how they got their name, the leafcutters. Now, here's the part that makes them truly special. Imagine this: a small bee lands on a leaf, and with incredible precision, cuts out a neat, circular piece, almost like a tiny cookie cutter. She then tucks this leaf piece under her body and flies it back to her nesting site. What does she do with it? She uses these leaf discs to build her home. She lines tunnels with them, creates individual rooms for each of her babies, and wraps them up in leaf-wrapped brood cells. It's like nature's version of a perfectly insulated nursery. The precision is so amazing that when people see these perfect cuts on their plants, they often think a machine must have done it, not an insect. This brings us to why these little builders are so vital for farming. Leafcutter bees are some of the most efficient crop pollinators on the entire planet. While honeybees can sometimes get distracted, flitting from one type of flower to another, leafcutter bees are incredibly focused, fast, and consistent. They get the job done. They also collect pollen in a completely different way. Honeybees pack pollen into neat little baskets on their legs. But leafcutter bees carry dry pollen all over the fuzzy hairs on the underside of their abdomen. This might sound messy, but it's actually a genius strategy. As the bee moves from flower to flower, this loose pollen easily transfers, making them super pollinators. Every landing is an opportunity to fertilize a plant. There's one crop in particular where the leafcutter bee is an absolute superstar: alfalfa. Alfalfa is a key crop used to feed livestock and produce seeds for future planting. But its flowers are tricky. They have a special trigger mechanism that snaps shut and can smack a pollinator on the head. Honeybees really don't like this, so they often learn to avoid alfalfa flowers or find ways to steal nectar without pollinating them. But leafcutter bees? They just don't care. They power through, getting smacked, and just keep on working. Because of this unstoppable work ethic, farmers commercially use leafcutter bees in huge numbers to pollinate their alfalfa fields. The result is simple: more pollination means more seeds, and more seeds mean more crop production. Their impact on agriculture is massive. By efficiently pollinating crops, leafcutter bees increase what's called fruit set, the number of flowers that successfully turn into fruits. They boost seed production, ensure more uniform crop growth across an entire farm, and even improve the quality of the final product, leading to bigger fruits, healthier pods, and stronger seeds. Their efficiency is so mind-blowing that in some situations, just a handful of leafcutter bees can do the same amount of work as a much larger group of honeybees. They are truly the special forces of the pollination world. Now, a common question people have is, do leafcutter bees damage plants? It's a fair question. After all, you see these perfect circles missing from the leaves of your rose bushes or other garden plants. But the answer is no, they don't cause any serious harm. While the cuts might look a bit dramatic, the bee only takes a very small percentage of the plant's total leaves. A healthy plant can easily recover and will continue to thrive. In exchange for a few decorative holes, you get a powerful, natural pollinator that boosts the health of your entire garden. It's a pretty good deal, if you ask me. Another concern might be about their behavior. Are they aggressive? Will they sting you? Absolutely not. Leafcutter bees are incredibly calm and non-aggressive. They are solitary, which means they aren't defending a big hive full of honey and thousands of sisters like honeybees are. They have very little reason to attack a human. A leafcutter bee will only sting if it's literally squeezed or trapped, and even then, its sting is much milder than a honeybee's. This makes them one of the safest and best bees to have around your home and garden, even with children and pets nearby. So, where do these amazing bees live? They are cavity nesters, which means they look for small, pre-existing holes to build their nests in. They love things like hollow plant stems, tunnels left behind by other insects in old wood, cracks in walls, and even the artificial bee hotels that people put up in their gardens. They're very adaptable and will happily take advantage of human-made spaces, which is great news because it means you can easily encourage them to move into your neighborhood. And that brings us to the best part: how you can attract these helpful pollinators to your own garden or farm. It's surprisingly easy. First, plant a variety of pollinator-friendly flowers. They love things like lavender, sunflowers, basil, and clover, but a good mix of native wildflowers is always a winner. Second, and this is crucial, avoid using harsh pesticides. These chemicals can wipe out pollinators, especially solitary bees like the leafcutter. Third, provide nesting spots. You can buy or build a bee hotel, or simply drill some holes into an untreated block of wood. Aim for holes that are about 6 to 8 millimeters in diameter and about 10 to 15 centimeters deep. Place it in a spot that's protected from rain. And finally, don't be too tidy. Leave some natural materials around. Leafcutter bees need leaves and other soft plant materials for their nests, so a perfectly manicured garden isn't always the most welcoming. The story of the leafcutter bee proves something really important. Not all heroes are big and loud. Some of the most impactful work is done by the small, silent contributors who work every day without any recognition. They don't give us honey. They don't live in giant, buzzing colonies. They don't get all the media attention, but they do something incredibly powerful. They build. They pollinate. They help feed the world. If agriculture is the backbone of our civilization, then tiny workers like the leafcutter bee are the unsung heroes holding it all together. So the next time you see a perfect little circle cut out of a leaf, don't be alarmed. Smile and know that a tiny, hardworking mother bee is nearby, building a home for her family and making our world a more fruitful place. Thanks for watching, and if you learned something new today, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more stories from the amazing world of nature.